Okay, let's discuss cryptography. Cryptography is a study of secure communications techniques that allows only the sender and the receiver or the recipient of the data to view its content. So dito sa cryptography, pag-aaralan natin yung iba't ibang types or ways on how to secure a communication between the sender and the receiver. So mamaya i-discuss natin yung iba't ibang types ng cryptography. Okay? So let's first discuss the three important security goals on cryptography. Number one is confidentiality. So to be secured, information needs to be hidden from unauthorized access. When we send a piece of information to be stored in a computer or in a remote computer, or when we retrieve a piece of information from a remote computer, we need to conceal it during the transmission. So dapat walang makaka-access nun na iba maliban sa sender and sa receiver. So yun lang yung ibig sabihin ng confidentiality. Okay? So second is the integrity. To be protected from unauthorized change, it means that changes needs to be done only by the authorized entities, which is the sender and the receiver lang. So sila lang yung authorized na pwedeng magbago ng data, no, na pinagpapalit-palit nila. Okay, wala nang iba pa. Okay? Actually, mayroon pang ibang term yun, no, na dapat yung originality dapat ng data from the sender is 100% pag na-receive ni receiver. Ang tawag dun is fidelity. Okay? So, mas maganda pagka yung fidelity is 100% na maintain sa recipient, sa receiver. Okay? Ibig sabihin, dapat walang nabago. Kung ano yung data, kung ano yung originality ng data from the sender, dapat pagdating kay receiver, dapat walang nabago doon. Okay? That is 100% fidelity. Okay? Number 3 is availability. To be available to an authorized entity when it is needed. Of course, may mga times na kailangan baguhin. No? So, dapat yung data is laging available. Yan. Okay? So, information needs to be constantly changed, which means it must be accessible to the authorized entities. Okay? So, there are three types of security data attacks. No? Depende dun sa security goals. No? Number 1 is threat to confidentiality. Number 2 is threat to integrity. And last is threat to availability. So, isa-isahin natin yung different kinds of security attacks. Depende dun sa security goals. Okay, so the first security attacks that threatens confidentiality is called snooping. So, snooping refers to the unauthorized access to or interception of data. Like, for example, a file is being transferred through the internet that may contain confidential information. So, some interceptor or hacker can change or intercept the data during the transmission, and pwede niyang gamitin yun for his or her own benefit. Okay? So, yun yung tinatawag na snooping. So, second is the traffic analysis. So, traffic analysis, although encipherment of the data, pag sinabing encipherment, synonym siya sa encryption. So, although encryption or encipherment of data may make it non-intelligible, ibig sabihin hindi pwedeng ma-access for the interceptor or for the hacker, she can obtain some other types of information by monitoring the online traffic. Like, for example, she can find the email or electronic address of the sender or the receiver. She can collect pairs of requests and responses to help her guess the nature of the transaction. Okay, so that is traffic analysis. Okay, so next is the security attacks that threatens integrity. So number 1 is modification. So modification, after intercepting or accessing the information, the attacker modifies the information to make it beneficial to herself. Like, for example, a customer sends a message to a bank to initiate some transaction. The attacker or the hacker can intercept the message and changes the type of transaction to benefit herself. Okay. So next is masquerading or spoofing. So, masquerading or spoofing happens when the attacker impersonates somebody else. Like, for example, an attacker might steal the bank card and pin off the bank customer and pretend that she or he is that customer. So, sometimes the attacker or the hacker pretends instead to be the receiver entity. Okay? So, next, the third one is called replaying. In replaying, the attacker obtains a copy of the message sent by a user and later tries to replay it. Like for example, a person sends a request to her bank to ask for payment to the attacker, who has done a job for her. Okay. The attacker intercepts the message and sends it again to the receiver for another payment from the bank. Okay, so the last security attacks that threatens integrity is called repudiation. So repudiation is the type of attack that is different from others because it is performed by one of the two parties, no? Either the sender or the receiver. So either the sender of the message might later deny that she has sent the message, no? And vice versa, the receiver of the message might later deny that he has received the message. So magbigay ako ng scenario. Okay? So an example of denial by the sender would be a bank customer asking her bank to send some money to a third party, but later denying that she has made such a request. An example of denial by the receiver naman could occur when a person buys a product from a manufacturer and pays for it electronically, but the manufacturer later denies having received the payment and asks to be paid. Okay, so the last type for the security attack is the security attacks that threatens availability. So, denial of service. So, denial of service is the type of attack that may slow down or totally interrupt the service of a system. The attacker can use several strategies to achieve this. The attacker might send so many bogus requests to a server that the server crashes because of the heavy load. Or the attacker can intercept and delete a server's response to a client, making the client believe that the server is not responding.